Have you ever had anybody come and give you bad news? Like you've lost your job, or you've got a serious sickness that has no cure, or maybe someone who's told you that your property has been siphoned or stolen, or your bank has closed down. Has anybody told you bad news? Well, what do we normally do when we receive bad news? We begin to grumble, we begin to get disturbed, we begin to get stressed out, we begin to get upset. But let's look at this man named Hezekiah. When he receives bad news, what does he do? When we open up our Bibles to 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 1 and 2, we read, "In those days Hezekiah became sick and was at the point of death. And Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, came to him and said to him, 'Thus says the Lord, set your house in order, for you shall die, you shall not recover.'" That's bad news, right? That's very bad news. You are going to die, Hezekiah. It's not just anybody saying it. It's a man of God that's speaking over Hezekiah's life. But see what Hezekiah does in verse 2. It says, "Then Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and prayed to the Lord." So Hezekiah did not run to the man of God to change his words, did not go to his doctors or did not go to his counselors, but he turned to God. He did not sit with stress and depression or tension, but he turned to God. He prayed. That means he chose, what it says here is he turned his face to the wall. That means he chose to just shut off everybody else, cut off everything else, every other thought. He just chose to look to the wall and call upon God. That means blank everything and be alone with God. When you begin to be alone with God, when you begin to shut off everything around you and just get close to God, just connect to God, God has the ability to turn that bad news to good news. See what happens next. In verse 5, we read, the Lord spoke to Isaiah now, and he says, "Turn back and say to Hezekiah, the leader of my people, 'Thus says the Lord, the God of David your father, I have heard your prayer, I have seen your tears. Behold, I will heal you.'" The previous news was, you are going to die. Now he gets the news, I'm going to heal you. "On the third day you shall go up to the house of the Lord." And verse 6, it says, "And I will add 15 years to your life." That means his bad news turned to good news. He was supposed to die, now he gets healed. It all began was when Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and began to pray, began to call upon God, began to connect with God. I want to tell you, you need to be alone with God. If you want to turn your bad news to good news, you need to shut off every other voice. You need to shut off every other counsel. Be with God. Spend time with God, and He will surely turn your bad news to good news. God bless you.